Good morning, you're listening to 92.7 Arrow FM, and this is the Nothing Personal Show with Nikki King. This morning, I've got some really exciting guests. There's loads of interest. Well, if you're listening on the radio, you won't be able to see what I can see, but there's instruments scattered about the studio because we've got Jonash Kogel and Catherine Cooper. She's just writing those, so she hasn't brought any pens or anything. But our show goes out to you. It's sponsored by Hot Yoga for You and Fuzzbox Designs. Thank you to our sponsors. And we're a show sometimes about women, but we've decided to bring our second man in today. So, and I'm going to introduce you now. So, good morning, Catherine.
Good morning.
Oops, let's get your mics on. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning.
And tell me a little bit about what you do.
So, I'm a writer. I write mostly fiction, and I also work with memoirists, usually as a coach, so helping people to write their books, their life stories usually. And I also do writing workshops for high school students and at King Street Artworks and at the library here in Masterton.
Fantastic, that sounds great. So, and Jonash, do you want to tell me a little bit about you?
Yes, well, I was here on Friday.
Yes.
Doing quite similar things. So what I do is our musical instrument workshops,
yes.
Musical workshops. So what it means is that we have a big van which is overfilled by musical instruments, and we go to everywhere they want us.
Yes.
Mostly it's in the schools or preschools or in the corporate companies or anywhere for the parties, for the festivals. And those instruments are all designed a way that you cannot do a mistake. So even with a bunch of people who never played music or who are scared of make any sound or any, even singing, then those instruments are a pretty inspiring thing to let go the fears and to join the party, do the sounds and be in harmony, be in the same rhythm.
Yes, yeah, because a lot of people are quite scared of getting hold of musical instruments, aren't they? And I suppose it's a bit like art, because at school you're told that you can't do it, you can't do things in tune, or you can't draw, and people they get this anxiety. Well, I did a teacher training years ago, and they talked about art anxiety, where that's been planted by teachers in the past. So it's really good that you're bringing these instruments, and I've been part of one of these. So do you want to describe what you actually do?
Yeah, so what I do is encourage those people who are scared and mix. I love the mixed groups of different ages and different musical skills, different levels of the skills. And usually I do some part which is like an entertainment. So we have some music therapist games and just try to break the fear from the sound. And especially in New Zealand, I'm actually a little bit shocked now because I have some private lessons also, private students.
Yep.
And it's quite shocking for me how less music there is in the schools.
Yeah.
That there is actually really not much of it, or there are schools where there is nothing.
I know.
That's scary because for me, being from the artist or musician, I would say musical country, where everyone knows plenty of songs and everyone is singing. So it's very surprising that there is not even 1 hour fixed for weekly for kids to have some musical education and to learn this beauty of the voice and beauty of doing some sound. And there's a lot of fear of making the mistake and not being perfect. Yeah,
I can appreciate that. Did you learn at school yourself?
Oh yeah. We had at least 3 hours a week, and that's so I had to learn the notes, and then on the high school and on the university, especially because I studied how to be the music teacher on the first grade and the music therapy training. So that's all part of the education, but mainly we were all singing, so I was learning it before I was born.
I can appreciate that. I learnt at school, and I was lucky to go to a school that actually was really into music. but my children have had a very different experience. I think all the music that they've picked up or been encouraged to do has been through us because we're musicians. So it's a really great thing that you're doing there. Now coming over to you, Catherine, probably the similar kind of thing with writers. That what sort of people come to write their memoirs? That's quite interesting.
There's a range. It's so far been only women, and sort of women who are, I think, especially when their kids are a little bit older and they have a story that, they have some time, and then they have a story that they want to tell. Yeah. But there's a range. It's all different, and it's not only memoirists that I work with, but primarily, and that's what I find very interesting. I'm doing my master's in counseling right now because of my work with memoirists, because it ends up being a lot like a kind of therapy, but it's really led by the person who's doing the writing. But for me, writing has been a very therapeutic thing. So
yeah, I think that's good when you can get everything out onto paper and
and it's an amazing experience to go through that with another person. It's very intimate, really, because you're going through something with them that in every case where I've worked with somebody, they really go through a very deep process in writing their stories and see it very differently at the end, and also they feel that the process was more important than the product at the end of it.
Yeah. I can see that. I write songs, and it's very similar when you pour things, even though my songs are a bit nonsensical sometimes. They've got a deeper meaning somewhere, and you throw them out there and you sort of get that kind of thing out of your system. Mm-hmm. And also I appreciate when I've worked with a band, working with somebody who's a very close, like when we lost our guitarist recently, Sheldon, it was like losing a partner. Mm-hmm. We've been working together for 3.5, nearly 4 years, and I didn't expect to feel that way. It was pretty intense. But so I can, and so what other writing do you do? What sort of things do you enjoy?
Myself personally?
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm working on my third book. So my first two books, they're quite different. The first one is historical fiction about the folk song Home on the Range.
Oh, nice.
So it's about American history, and a lot of nonfiction in it. And then my second book is a novel, which is set in West Africa, and it's about a Canadian family in West Africa. And it's looking at, I guess the main theme that recurs in my writing is interactions between Western medicine and traditional medicines. That's what I'm really interested in. So, and then right now I'm working on a book that is, it was supposed to be about, and it is about, drug rehabilitation programs or that use psychedelic plants in the treatment of substance use disorders. So, but it's again, looking at programs that are combining approaches from Western medicine and traditional medicines.
That's quite cool, because I think people, when they read things, that's sometimes the way they access finding out more about these things, isn't it? Through a good like a story or book.
Yeah.
And it's framed around that. So what are the titles of your books? We might want to buy them.
My first book is called The Western Home. That was the original name of Home on the Range, the song, when it was written as a poem. Or it was actually a Western home. And my novel is called White Elephant. Yeah. And my new book is as yet untitled. It's not finished.
Work in progress, a whip. Yeah, cool. I can appreciate that. I'm going to have to look those books up. Are they available just widely?
They're available at the libraries in Greytown and Carterton.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So you can go in and hire the book, everyone, and go and read it. Catherine Cooper's book. They sound very fascinating. So what drew you to the combination of the medicines?
I'm not actually sure. My dad is a surgeon, and he did a lot of his career he spent working in developing countries. So, and I think maybe it comes from that. Yeah. But it just What I found with my writing is that I feel like it just sort of happens to me. Like I didn't really choose it. So I noticed those themes afterwards, but I'm not sure why I was interested in those topics in the first place.
Yeah, I can appreciate that being a songwriter as well. You can wake up in the morning. Usually I wake up with the tune in my head. They all come to me when I'm sleeping. So it's like the joke used to be in the band that I woke up in G sharp minor, because that was when I'd sing a tune to them, that was in a real weird key that I don't actually sing in.
And are they good though when you remember them in the morning? Are they actually?
They're great songs, yeah. The ones that you wake up singing, the ones that are in your head.
That happens to me a lot, and I think they're great. But then the songs that I wake up in my dreams, but then when I actually write them down or try to sing them, they're not actually as good as.
Well, I don't suppose they're as good as when the band has had them. You know what I mean? When everybody comes and puts their own little part to it, because I think that's what makes these amazing workshops that you do, because everybody realizes that they've got a part to play in creating music. It's not always a solo thing, is it? Well, it's quite often not a solo thing, playing music that's become a thing where you've got the solo guitarist, because I've always enjoyed playing in ensembles. So it was really interesting. So you've got some interesting instruments here on the table. Do you want to run us through what you've got out today?
Yeah, well, this is Sansula. It's from Germany, and now if it will be, if I move the microphone here, be easier to hear. So it's one of those instruments where you don't have to think at all.
Yep.
Whatever you do will be right. And what you can do with that is just give it to the groups of people, and
I think I had one of those when I really loved that sound. It's really interesting sound that you get from that. It's like and very relaxing.
And very special modification of that sound is if you play and lift it in the same moment, like this.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Which, when I heard it first time, I was just so surprised.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I thought you can do it only by the synthesizer, this kind of sound. I didn't know that you can do it acoustically. And the perfect thing is that even toddlers, even little babies, they are able to do it with perfect sound without any mistake.
That's amazing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what are these ones over here?
Those are the
they're
chimes.
Quite interesting. Oh, they're pretty as well.
Well, that's the other thing, that you just hold a string, you feel the vibration in the string, and whatever you do, whatever movement, it plays the music. So you can try it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's cool, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's very calming. I was working with some very, very wild kids, and this is one of the things which stopped them.
I could imagine.
Which brought them to inner calmness. Mostly, not always.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful sound, that. You could just put that up in your room and let it do its thing, eh?
Yeah, but if you imagine you have 40 people and they all hold it.
So is this a traditional instrument?
This is a very untraditional instrument.
No, very untraditional. I just pop that over to you.
But you can try also this one.
Oh yeah, this one I've played before. I'm an expert at this one.
See, we can play all together. You can join.
Oh, that was cool. That's you, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's super simple and super magical, I would say.
And so this is a German instrument, did you say?
That's inspired by African and Indonesian original traditional instruments, but German music therapists, they
use this,
made the perfect sound out
and it's got like a little drum thing which helps with the sound, I would imagine.
Yeah, you can even drum
and play.
So that's something very special about evenings, what we do now at Aratoy, in the space which is the church space.
It's a beautiful space to play in. I've played in there.
Yeah.
I played in there with Masterton Brass Band.
Wow.
And we did, I don't know whether you've heard of Marlon Williams and Delaney Davidson. We did a gig with them, and they've got beautiful voices, these big operatic voices, and we did Hine, which is a traditional New Zealand song, and they were powering across this beautiful brass ensemble. Just beautiful. I'm even thinking about it, you get shivers down your spine. Yeah, it's a beautiful space, isn't it, the church?
And you don't really have to bring your PA, because the sound is so amazing. And if there's 30 people playing those instruments, then it's really very angelic.
Yeah, when we did a gig, Spank played, and you were doing this thing there just before Christmas, wasn't it? I think, and there was heaps of people all playing really different. They're all tuned to the same sort of thing, eh?
Yeah.
Because you had the nose flutes as well.
Yeah,
I remember those.
Yeah.
People trying to get the hang of those.
Well, the nose flutes, usually people hate them because it's very difficult to.
It is quite a difficult technique, that, eh?
But I think right at that party, I think I took some time to explain really carefully how to do it, and it became very popular.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So if you want to get your Nash down to your party, they ring you and you could come along and
Sure.
Yeah,
I can have a look on the website. We have the website.
Oh yeah, got websites, and what's that? Is it?
My one is connectingmusic.nz.
Yep.
And Katie's CatherineCooper.co, right?
Yeah, cool. So you can get in touch with these guys. You don't do parties though, do you?
I don't do. Well, we have a little
Writers'
party at the Masterton Library every month. It's sort of a party.
Yeah. So what do you do at the library? Let's find out more about that, because a lot of people might want to join that.
Yep. So that's open for everybody. It's free. 6:30 to 8 o'clock. First Thursday of the month. It has the very corny name Right On, because I like corny names. And it's really just for everyone. And the idea behind it is that it's not a feedback group exactly, because there are already quite a lot of feedback groups. Yeah. It's really a group it's kind of like a support group for writers who are very often, stuck in their houses with their ideas. And like with the musicians, the people often are very afraid even to admit that they write.
Yes.
So the idea of it is just for everybody to come wherever they are, and that everybody has expertise. Even if you have no writing experience, if you've lived a life, you have expertise that's helpful to others. And so we just are kind of talking about writing, really.
Yep.
And it's kind of finding its shape, because I don't want it to be that I'm leading it.
No.
I want it to be led by everyone. So it'll take a little while, I think, for us to figure out exactly how it's going to go, but it's been quite popular, and we have a really amazing range of people showing up. And yeah, it's kind of just for us to get together and talk about writing and what we're experiencing and helping each other, really.
And it's all levels of experience.
All levels of experience.
So even if you're just thinking of starting out writing,
yes,
that would be a good place to start.
Yeah.
I actually find that these peer groups are quite good, because we've got the Women in Business group, and it's good for everybody at all levels of business I think it's great for everybody to share the knowledge of everything, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're doing some stuff at King Street as well.
Yep. So that one is kind of we just decide each time when the next one will be. So there's no set date.
Yeah.
But that one is a little bit more workshopy. So we do it's slightly more. I wouldn't say teaching really, but that we have usually a topic that we go through, and we have some kind of assignments, and we do more writing exercises. So some people who have come to the Thursday group at the library have said they really want to have writing exercises and things like that, so they might prefer the King Street group for that reason. So it's a little bit different. And if anybody's interested in coming, then I think that there's a poster on the door at King Street.
There is,
and every time we decide on a new date, the old one gets crossed out and a new one gets written there. So.
Oh, that's quite cool. Well, I was up at King Street on Saturday because my middle son actually goes down there to do art, and clay. He loves working with clay, and they were asking him, did he fancy doing some writing? So they're actually actively sort of promoting your stuff down there, which is quite cool.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a really nice group, and we always have. There's some people that are there every time, and there's always new people. So, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a great place, isn't it? It's a great space.
I always feel very happy when I leave King Street.
Yeah, I know.
It's such a nice atmosphere.
I just go along as my son's caregiver. I'm not actually there for the purpose of the art. That's his thing, because he suffers from social anxiety. So he's doing that kind of thing. But I always feel really great after coming out of there as well. It gives me some kind of therapy. I spent about an hour speaking to a guy on the weekend about Maori culture, and it was really fascinating. I come out going, oh, that's so interesting. Lots of people sharing their experiences.
Yeah.
Well, when I first time came into King Street Artworks, I almost cried. I was like, yes, this is the place. Like, this is what we were waiting for.
Yeah.
If I knew that this is happening here, my life in Wairarapa would be easier.
Yeah.
Because I just find it, it's fascinating.
I'm
looking forward to find some time to not bring just, I sometimes bring the instruments there also. So
I think workshops. That would be amazing. Yeah.
We already did it, and it's perfect.
I'll have to come on a day when you're doing that with William. He's learning to play the drums at the moment, but he's never really been drawn to music. He's more art, So, but that's cool. I really like that because, he's making some amazing characters. But these instruments could go along with. He's got a fantastic imagination, and even writing would be good for him too, I think. But he seemed quite interested in the writing, so that's a bonus. Okay, so you tell me more about Aratoi. When is that?
That's every Tuesday. Almost every Tuesday. It will not be shortly before the school holidays.
Yeah.
It will stop and then it will continue in the next term.
Right.
And that's just open invitation for everyone. It's great that Masterton District Council and the Art Fund supported it.
Oh, that's cool.
And Aratoi also supported it by giving cheaper rent. And I just bring there really hundreds of musical instruments, and anyone is welcomed. It's based on Koha, so you don't have to even pay if you cannot afford anything. And we do the music. It takes probably 1.5 hours, but last time it felt like 1.5 hours is not enough, so maybe it will extend. And we do the similar approach as what Katie described about her work in library, is that people with different skills come together and share it.
Yes.
So it's not I'm not the musician on the stage, or I'm not teaching. I'm not saying do this or do this, but I'm just sort of bringing like empty frame.
Yes.
Of the picture what we do together through our music. So I give the offers. You can play this way, and this can be played this way, but it's up to you.
Yeah.
And after having some sort of warm-up, learning about those instruments and having some knowledge about the background and about the history and tradition, where it comes from, then we just turn off the light and just with the candles play. And everyone is singing. I think that's fascinating. It's good if there is not enough light, because people are not so shy.
Yes.
And then the voices are just bringing the harmonies and different instruments, bells and rattles and very simple things which make sense together. And so the energy is there's not that game of being a musician and being the performer and being the audience, but we are in the circle and we just do it all together without that focus on the outcome.
Yes.
So we also, with the writing, it's beautiful, I think, when the writers realize that the process is more valuable than getting published.
Yes.
That we are actually processing something through that art, what we do. So that's what we do with the sounds. No one is listening, no one is judging us, hopefully.
No.
I don't know. But it's really more about that present moment, present reaction, and the understanding of, I listen what I like, what is good for me, but also I have to listen what is happening around me and maybe change a little bit so it all makes sense. So it's training sort of sensitivity to others, and sometimes it's super wild. Sometimes it's people are dancing and having a lot of fun. Sometimes it's more like a meditation. It's more calm. It depends on the
Yeah, it's
days.
funny. That's a funny thing with music, isn't it? You can perform with all the instruments and the same people, but the mood is always different, and that comes. It's like expression that they're doing through these instruments with that framework, and finding that joy in expressing themselves through the instruments. Yeah. So we do the same with we write. That's why we went for original music with Spank. It was a creative, expressive process, not something where we learned a prescribed set of chords. And people would say, "What is your genre?" And we'd go, "We don't have a genre. We don't prescribe to that. We don't have any outcome perceived in our head at all. It's just four random people with four completely different influences." Because if we sat down and just said, "What do you like? And what do you like? And what do you like?" none of us would like the same thing.
Yeah.
But we came together as musicians because we enjoyed what each other brought to the table. And it's great that people can come and do that with absolutely no musical knowledge whatsoever. I think it's fantastic. And I had a great time. I didn't know what to expect. It was not what I expected at all.
Well, it's very hard to describe it.
It is,
So we made some flyers, and we're trying to make some like a short movies about it, maybe from the sessions to explain it. But it's very difficult. But really what it is to come together and relax and focus on what is happening now, and just forget that game of being skilled or not. Like Katie's writers group or the meeting in the libraries. I just love that there are people who are published, who are well-known writers, together with people who are thinking that maybe in a few years they will start to write.
Yeah.
And they share about their struggles in the creative process. So I find it very exciting how many people in Wairarapa actually sort of, it felt like writers came out of their little caves and come out of the bushes to sit together in the library. And the library will have to be rebuilt. It needs bigger space.
Exactly.
There are more of them coming.
Yeah, they're coming. We're going to be a nation of writers, well, a province of writers. But the thing, I suppose, coming back to you, Catherine, for me, I don't know, it's a similar process when I do graphic design or something. When you're faced with that white sheet of paper and you've got to start, that is the biggest step, I think, is sometimes actually starting. How would you approach starting to write a book?
I'm very methodical, and I've also, just from my own experience of writing so far, which is limited, I've only written 2 books. It's not like I've...
That's 2 books more than most people.
But what I feel for myself, at least, is that I've just learned to just kind of trust that it has its own time, because I used to get very anxious about when it wasn't working, and I would keep trying. And I don't think this works for everyone, but for me, what works is actually to stop when it doesn't work. And that doesn't mean not doing it because you don't feel like it. There's a difference between I don't feel like it, but I'm going to do it anyway, and I don't know where to go from here, and nothing I'm trying is working. And when I get to that point, I actually just stop, because what I've learned is that there's something that I need to experience or learn in order to be able to move forward. And so, because I really see when I'm writing a book, it's sort of consumes a big part of my mind. And also with the books of the people I'm working with, they also have their little compartments, and the things that happen get filtered through that. So yeah, I think that it'll always happen if I just kind of let go and just say, okay, I'm just going to take a break from this, that something will happen that'll make me realize, oh, okay, it's good that I didn't just keep powering through, because actually I needed to know about this first. Yeah, so I don't really struggle with that anymore, because I kind of gave up on struggling with that. But I did for a long time.
I think you do, actually. And I've worked for myself, I've done for about 3.5 years, which has been a new thing. I always worked for other people. And you've just sometimes got to, if you are coming up, it's right, you got to stop. You got to go and go to the beach or something. Just go and do something else,
or write something else. I mean, that's why I always have multiple short projects at the same time, or also doing other things like working with clients or teaching or whatever it is, so that I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket, so that it doesn't feel like the end of the world if it's not working. So I think it's kind of, for me at least, it's important to have a lot of other things.
So when either you or your client comes along and they say, I want to write a book, is there steps that you go through? Yeah, I mean, it's different for everybody, so I really tailor it to each person. Usually I'll ask a lot of questions and get them to do some kind of exercises that are as I said, I'm very methodical, so I have my methods of doing things, and I can kind of like offer those to people, but it doesn't work for everybody. No. And so then we have to find what works for them, because everybody has their own way. But my way is, I really draw a lot of graphs and make charts and make these very detailed plans, which are visual. I need to see things, so I have, when I'm working on something, I have this very detailed visual plan of what's going to happen, and I chart the various characters' emotional experiences based on graphs and things like that. So it's a bit out there, probably, but that's what I need. But it sounds fascinating, that.
But luckily the graphs are changing.
Yeah, they all change, like project management. It's all moving.
They're not like set in stone, so the graphs can change. But I just need to have that as a starting point to feel like I know where I'm going. And it's not that every detail of it. Usually there's a scene, like in each thing I've worked on, there's one scene that that's sort of the seed that makes me want to write that book. Yeah. And I always wait until the end to write that scene, because I feel like the whole process of writing the book is building up to writing that scene. And I have to write a book that's like...
So can you write multiple scenes and then piece them together?
Yeah, I don't write chronologically usually, so it's...
No, because that's my problem. I've sat down there at the computer and go, right, I'm going to write something. And I'm going to start at the beginning, but then your brain doesn't work that way. It's like your memories are affected by a lot of different things, and you'll start with one memory or one thing that you're going to write about, and then you jump back to something else, and you're like, oh.
So when you do that, do you have a plan, or do you have an idea of where you're going?
No, I'm a creative random. I'm random, completely random. Sorry, clients, that's me.
But that's just it, though. Different things work for different people, and that's why I love getting people together who have different ways of working, because they can then also find each other and share their own strategies with each other, which would be different from any strategy I would suggest, because I wouldn't necessarily think of it, because
a lot of my clients have problems with writing copy and things like that for websites. So like even just writing would be a good experience for them to come along to these classes or and experience. Could you give them tips for that kind of thing?
Yeah, but the idea with the King Street one it's more like that. With the library one, we're kind of all giving each other tips. So it's not really me giving the tips.
So it's more like you said, a support group.
A support group, and we've decided, because there are quite a few people, to break up into groups. We'll break up in different ways, but right now it's according to genre. Yeah. Yeah, so that people can have a little bit more focus on whatever genre they're working in. Some people are working in multiple genres, but...
So what sort of genres have you got at the group?
Oh, we have nonfiction, we have family stories, we have short stories, we have novel, poetry. I think that's it, 5 groups. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I used to write quite a lot of poetry when I was younger. I suppose that's why I came to songwriting, really, because they're very similar kind of thing. And sometimes... Some people my lyrics tend to be very sparse, but I let the person fill their things in. That's the kind of style that I sort of have. It's a bit random, really. And write about really random things like cheese and things like that,
We know that.
But yeah. So, and what time does it start at Aratoy? What time is your...
6 p.m.
6 p.m. Yeah, cool. So that's accessible. Probably have to rush if you're going on the train, if you're coming off the Wellington train.
Yeah, some people came in a little bit late, and that was
the commuters are complaining that it's too early. But
typical commuters, they complain about everything.
This is just the beginning. Yes, I did this kind of workshops on many other places. Yep. And usually it was like more sessions. So I started with a group of just parents with kids.
Yep.
and having more like a fun song singing and drumming with that.
Yep.
Then I had the group of teenagers, which was usually very wild. And then on the end, in the late night or later in the evening, I had just adults, and it was usually more like a ritual or like a calming down meditation with the sounds.
Yeah.
But we just started, so it's just 6 p.m. for everyone, and
so it could evolve. It could evolve to something more.
Yeah, but right now it's juicy as it is.
It's juicy, yeah. It sounds. And you're going for an hour and a half. It doesn't matter if they come a bit later, does it? Really?
Well, it's very good if they are there on the beginning,
right,
because we usually talk on the beginning.
Yeah.
It's always great, especially if there is someone new. It's great if there is a little introduction, even if it's just having a bell in the hand and sending it. You don't have to say anything, but usually people talk.
And then they lose their inhibition. Yeah.
And also people who are coming regularly, usually they talk more and more because that fear of speaking publicly or being visible publicly, that's something what I guess we all know. And this allowance to be expressing freely, it really pushes people to be expressing themselves, not just during the music session, but also in their life. So people start to talk with others about things what they were holding for years, sometimes, so it has some effect for the daily life to experience that, I would say, shared flow.
Yes.
It's like that we all are in presence, so we are not thinking about what's happening at home or where I will go after the session.
Yeah.
But it's really about listening what is happening inside me, what is happening around me, and putting it somehow together with others. And having magical musical instruments is really very helpful.
That's really cool. I think I'm going to have to come along one Tuesday.
And not just gentle instruments like these ones.
We have a lot of drums. We have a lot of...
and there's a sitar. There's a beautiful sitar sat there. My husband would be feigning now. Look at that sitar.
You should bring him. We have 2 sitars there.
I love if I told him there's a sitar there, he'd be there. He's actually a commuter, though, unfortunately.
He better to hurry up.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So what I'm going to do now is going to play. I don't really need to play today, but I'm going to play a tune just because this band, I know this band well, and they've just released an EP, and they were at the Glastonbury Festival. And they're called Ripple Effect. I just love to play this for you guys out there who are watching and are listening in. And this song is called Peace, Love and Harmony. And it goes a bit like this.
Stand up, rise up, and let's move as one. The fire's burning from deep within. I can feel the rhythm beneath my skin.
You're listening to 92.7 Arrow FM, and this is the Nothing Personal show with Nikki King. And in the studio this morning, I've got Catherine Cooper and Jonas Korkul. Yes, I got it right. Cool, sorry about that. And we're going to do something really exciting in a minute. But I just got to say thank you to Hot Yoga for You for sponsoring the show, and Fuzzbox Designs. They're our sponsors, and we're part of the Women in Business Facebook group. So if you're a woman and you want some support in your business, you can hop over there, and we meet the first Friday of the month at Clerville Bakery. So if you just want to come along and talk about starting a business, or you've got a business, or you've got, if you're helping somebody with a business, come along, have a cup of tea, share your news, share your problems. We're there to help, and that's on Friday. This Friday. It's the first Friday of the month again. We got there. So, hello again. So we're going to do something interesting. So I'm going to let Jonas direct us. We're going to do some music. We're going to show you that this can be done. Yes. So first of all, we're going to play a little bit of music, and then we're going to do a Wairarapa. So this is novel. So if you were watching out there, this is going to be a bit of fun. This is completely unrehearsed. Completely unrehearsed. Now, I've played guitar and trumpet, but none... This is a flute. This is a flute. This is a flute. Interesting.
Yeah. And the beauty is that you never, even if you practice, it's always different.
Yep.
So how to play this flute? It's called koncovka. It's from Slovakian mountains.
Yep.
Made of elderberry, and you just blow in without pushing the holes. It doesn't have the holes.
Doesn't have any holes.
It feels like limitation, but it actually, you can still play the melodies. And if you have the flutes which are the same size, then any tones can go together,
right?
Fit together.
So they're all tuned differently.
Yep. So
cool.
if you play just gently, then the sound will be deeper. If you play more with the sharp breath, then it will be higher. And if you touch the hole on the end, it start to play in the melodies.
Oh, nice.
And you can play even this way.
Too. Nice.
Or you can play even 4. In one preschool, they pushed me to into my nose, so they were holding it, and I was, without having any ability to inhale, I was playing 4 instruments.
So you've not done the circular breathing yet?
No, but you can play it with the circular breathing.
Yeah, so you could inhale and exhale at the same time.
It's very easy to play, so I just
all right,
pass
okay.
you on.
Here we go. This is me. I usually play the trumpet.
Even if you try really hard, there is no way to do a mistake.
So, does he try all this out on you at home?
I have some experiences. Mostly my experience is packing and unpacking these instruments.
Oh, yeah. That's my husband. He plays the bass, but he carries all the instruments around as well. Because the life of a musician, this is what we do, isn't it? Oh, that's very interesting.
And so you can play it with one hand, which means that your other hand
there we go.
can
See,
drum or play some more
multi-talented. Look at this.
And I also brought a drum. So imagine the group of, doesn't matter how many people playing together and
so
doing this.
Whoa, look at that. We made a song.
Yes.
Wow. Far out. Sounded better than spank. Sorry, Sheldon. Didn't mean that. Okay. So that's pretty cool, that. That's pretty cool. And they do sound great, though. They're a bit nicer than overblown recorders. But I started on the recorder. So that's how we started at school, with the little...
Yeah, same.
So it's either you was on the recorder or the guitar at that stage. Cool. So you said you were going to do a little bit of a Wairarapa.
Yes, we have other instrument here.
Oh, look at this.
From India. You can actually join also, any instruments together. So this is super simple instrument where you just push, that's all. So if you didn't mind, I will give you...
So what do I do with this?
Just keep the air inside.
So you just sort of do a little bit of a thumb movement on it. See, this is my kind of instrument. This is for you. This one, Pete, he's getting the sitar out now.
Well, I should sit on the ground, but the mics are not there. Kari Kariana Na Wairarapa Fitiatu Kohina Marinana Ehine Okimaira
Well, that was amazing, eh? Far out. I really enjoyed that. Actually, I was getting into it. It's a beautiful sound, the sitar, eh?
Yeah, it is very special.
Should I just pop that over there? Oh.
It has so many harmonic strings that it's very rich sound.
Yeah, another one of my husband's favourite instruments is the balalaika. That's got a really nice sound, eh? It's very similar, but not quite as deep as that.
Yeah. But it's great that those instruments are tuned in open tuning.
Exactly.
So this has 20 strings. Balalaika has just 3, but it's the same. You just use one finger and play the melodies on one string.
Oh yeah, well,
and everything else is shaking.
It's got a beautiful, because my first experience of hearing that was the theme from Dr. Zhivago, the film. And it's just such an emotive instrument, the balalaika, and very, very characteristic. Just beautiful. Just perhaps we should get one. Well, we've been after one for ages, actually. My husband played the mandolin for a while, and he likes all these stringed instruments, but he's a bass man, really. Yeah, so cool. So there's some very, very exciting things happening in Wairarapa. You could be a writer and a musician, and they could do both. You know, I mean, I think if you're a creative person, you tend to do quite a lot of creative things. Would you agree?
Yes.
Do you do other things other than writing?
Well, yeah, I play violin.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But there's so many creative people in this community.
It's amazing Wairarapa, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, where are you originally from?
Scotland, but I grew up in Canada.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, I've got family over in Canada. And you're from...
Czech Republic.
The Czech Republic. So there's lots of interesting Eastern European instruments as well, isn't there, that come around. So what brought you to New Zealand?
My mom, really. We met in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And, my mom is from here. So she's lived in the Wairarapa for about 10 years. She moved back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it just became very homey to us because we would visit her here.
And I was brought here actually by Maori songs and dances.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
So that's what brought me back to New Zealand, and we met, and since then, that's the motivation.
Yeah, I enjoy the Maori harmonies, the harmonies that come out of the singing when they sing together.
Mm-hmm.
We did. I was part of the Talent Wairarapa competition that went on a couple of weeks ago. At Carston Event Centre. It was very hard to pick a winner for the judges, but there were 3 groups that had these beautiful, beautiful harmonies that they would just sing so beautifully together. And I judged the heats, but I purposefully didn't judge the finals because I'm a bit of a sucker for these harmonies, So it's like I would just put all of those people through. So you have to get somebody a bit more objective than me. But I can appreciate why you came to New Zealand for that.
Also, you should come in October. We will do together with King Street Artworks. We will do some few days like a celebration of Maori art in
nice.
Rangimarie Marae at Cola Street.
Yeah.
And I will do there also some not traditional but Maori-inspired dances, and they're made by, or they were made by one kamatua from Christchurch, and you will see how people in different continents, in North America or in Europe, people are actually dancing a lot of dances. People are learning the Maori mythology and Maori words. So I'll be doing it there with people.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to see the reaction of the local communities.
I think for anything that's encouraging positivity towards Maori culture is really well received. And yeah, that sounds like something I'd definitely be interested in. You'll have to drop me a line, add me on Facebook as a friend, and definitely do that, because that's just something that would be really cool. So if they want to catch up with you, let's just remind them how they can do it. They're Tuesday at the library, was that right?
Nope.
Wrong Thursday.
First Thursday of the month
First
from
Thursday.
6:30.
Okay.
And then at King Street Artworks, sort of randomly.
Yeah. And they can get in touch with you to write memoirs or help with
my
writing
website
tuition.
is just catherinecooper.co. Catherine with a C.
Catherine, yes, Catherine with a C.co, and you can find out all about Catherine. And if you need help with writing, and you got details of those things you just mentioned on there as well.
Yeah, and I also do editing and things like that for people. So.
And your
graphic design.
Competition.
That's all right. It's all good. I've got so much work. I'm glad somebody else is taking it.
It's good to hear.
I can pass them on to if you like. You can do some subby. And Jonas, you're creative. What was your website?
We actually have shared website, which is connecting-arts.com.
Okay.
And there are links to our both websites. Mine one is connectingmusic.nz.
Yes. So you can go to Aratoy
every Tuesday.
It was you that did
6 p.m.
Tuesday. At 6 p.m. And you can get in touch to come and do workshops at different places.
Yeah, I do workshops everywhere, especially in schools or in the companies, and also doing the private sessions, and planning probably quite a lot of more or less musical workshops within Wairarapa or whole North Island.
And I saw you did a gig at Tin Hut recently.
Oh yeah, Rob Mansell, Dr. Rob, he's inviting me quite often to join his band. So it's fun to play actually rock songs with sitar.
Yeah.
It's quite unusual.
I can see that Pete was like, we should get you on Nash into spank with his sitar. I don't know where he's quite heading with that, but it'd be quite good fun. So we can get you around the place. So I always ask my guests this. What is your favourite thing about Wairarapa? I'll start with you, Nash.
Well, the community and the mountains.
The mountains are amazing.
Yeah, but mostly the people who are, it's just so unbelievable how big concentration of people who are very positive and open to receive and co-create things.
Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable concentration.
I actually agree with that there's so much art going on here of all kinds. So what about you? What's your favourite thing?
The same, the community. And I love here that in my experience anyway, of the community with writers and with artists, that I've lived in places where there is a lot of competition, and I just really love here that people just seem to support each other. And yeah, I really like that feeling of that. And there's so many cool people here who are doing really interesting things, and activists and environmentalists.
There's so much here, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's like I lived in England, and it's a big place there. You expect to be more there, but there's actually the concentration here must be very dense.
And I love it that you can go to the supermarket in your dressing gown or with no shoes on or in your wellies, and nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
And I love it that there's lots of weird people, too. That there's just that it's fine here to just be,
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, I just feel like it's very non-judgmental place.
It is. I think you're right. I think that's what I like about it, because in England everybody's very stiff upper lip, and it's all, oh gosh, look at them, they're in the pyjamas or something. How very terrible that is. But here it's just really cruisy, eh?
Yep.
And people are excited about volunteering. There's so many things what people do for free, and I had a great experience. We were saving with Y-waste the onions.
Yeah.
And there were onions on the field which were not able to be sold anymore, and so we just picked them up with a bunch of volunteers, and then volunteers from different places, like school kids and the nurses from Wairarapa, and they just all came together to bag the onions together, because it goes to the schools and the hospitals and everywhere it can be used. And I just find it fascinating that people just take their own free time to do something good.
They do, yeah. That's a great thing. It's a great community. And anyway, thank you for being fantastic guests. I'll definitely have you back again, because this has been so much fun. Hope you've enjoyed it out there, guys. It's been really fun to be in the studio and make music, because I love making music. I haven't done any for ages. But I just want to mention a few things. I just got to find my little post here from the Women in Business. There's a bit of news going on. So we've got some very interesting stuff. Let's find it. Gosh, I'm not very good at finding these things today. We've got, anyway, Doggy Treats. They've got something going on in Greytown. They've got this, if you want, they've got a Right Royal Knees Up for Queen's birthday. And you can take your dog and get a dog portrait, and they'll receive free treats fit for a king or queen. And they'll also win the draw to win a luxury doggy treats hamper and much more. And it says woof here, woof, woof. So you can go to the Facebook page for this, Right Royal Knees Up, and register your interest. And that sounds like fun if you've got a dog. And then in June, Elise Childs is running a competition for a free family portrait session for one lucky Wairarapa family. And if you're interested in entering, it'll be posted on the Facebook page, Elise Childs Photography. So there's something that you can win. There's quite a bit going on. And I know Shari sent me a message this morning about a 40-day yoga challenge. So I'm just going to read that one out. Starting tomorrow, register at no cost, or I think that's today, because she sent this last night. No cost for the 40-day yoga challenge. The only cost is the class cost and your time. And so it's 40 days for a focus, 40 days of transformation, and 40 days of shift. So looking forward to guiding you over this time. Shari, Karina, Mark, Michelle, Namast. So that's a good thing to get involved in as well, the 40-day yoga challenge. So if you're needing to sort of chill out and be present, get yourself down to hot yoga for you in Kirrapuni. And thank you to them for sponsoring our show. It's been a fantastic show. I've had great fun. Thank you, Jonash and Catherine.
Thank you.
For inviting us, Nikki.
No, thank you for being fantastic guests. You've been listening to Nothing Personal with Nikki King, and it's sponsored by Hot Yoga for You and Fuzzbox Designs. We'll be back next week on Queen's birthday with another fantastic couple of guests. Until then, have a great week. Keep warm and don't get too cold in the southerly. Keep your fire lit, and we'll be with you next week. Thanks very much.